Welcome to the Coquitlam Whiskey Barrel Podcast with your hosts, Uncle Corey and Uncle Dono.
Recording off some bullshit.
He left his Stanley Cup back on the ice in 1980.
It's embarrassing.
Let's give Corey a round of applause like you were the fucking service staff at a wedding.
Who shot you? Separate the weak from the obsolete.
Let's record.
We're recording. We're back at it.
We're back at it.
Week 6.
Week 6.
Should we say it again? We didn't think we'd come this far.
Who thought we would?
We said.
Why would we? Is a better question. Why would we get this far? We're a couple of guys in a beautiful studio setting, Wendy Law Studios.
We've had some upgrades. Once again, Wendy upgraded it for us.
Yes. And we've added some accoutrement, as it were. And we've actually.
Is that what the French say?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Rome. What do the Italians say?
They say buono forno.
Bring me some more Gabbagool.
Yeah. I don't know what Gabbagool is.
I have no idea what Gabbagool is, but it might be my favorite Italian word.
Not only do I not know what it is, I think everybody gets the Gabbagool, but I don't even know where the reference is from. Is that a Sopranos thing?
When we go next week, when we take the podcast international,
as we were destined to do.
Well, let's ask.
Let's ask what the Gabbagool is.
Yeah, well, we'll just some Roman.
Yeah, some random Italian woman. You know, just you can imagine her. She's 85. She's got like nice little hood thing on, or whatever you call those things. She'll be walking by the river. Where's the Gabbagool? Hey, hey. Where's the Gabbagool? You got any of that?
Well, we're going to find out is it's just like the most racist Italian term ever, and we're both going to get punched in the face.
Yes, 100%. We've just been dropping N-bombs, and we didn't even realize we were doing it.
We're in South Compton dropping N-bombs.
Yeah.
Hey! I have no idea. You seen any of these guys? Where can we find them?
I'm looking for the gangbangers. You seen any around? I know I'm supposed to avoid them. I've got my wallet and my phone in my hands. Really secured tightly, because I don't want any of the pickpockets around here, the slick talkers or whatever, to come and unhand me from my money.
Well, welcome to the podcast, as it were.
Welcome to the Coquitlam Whiskey Barrel Fantasy Football Podcast.
Episode 6, of course, live from the Wendy Law Studios, brought to you again, of course, by Polarized Vodka, Sleeman's Cream Ale, and Lone Tree Cider, as it were.
Oh, and a surprise sponsor is Northwest Vodkas.
Yes,
they're being represented here somewhere as well.
Doing quite well and really a growing brand, so thank you.
Yeah,
we appreciate your support.
If you're in the mood for a locally made vodka, as we always are, it's brewed it's distilled out in Pitt Meadows, and it's sold at your local liquor store. Go out and get after it. Support local business. You know, that's what we're all about here, supporting local business.
That's exactly it. You know, I was at the liquor store before I came in just to grab some beverages for us, and the gentleman at the liquor store, he's got a bit of an accent. I don't know what it is.
Scottish.
It's poor. It's a poor accent.
It's pikey. It's pikey. It's Scottish.
Does he have
pikey.
accent?
I don't know.
Is he like caravans?
Yeah, he likes the vans. He likes to fight. You're in a fight.
The parish of the
You don't bring a big fella like that. You don't want to fight.
He looks like a vicer.
Yeah. You can't understand him. See, it's okay if we're racist towards white people. Isn't that funny?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, anyways, go ahead.
So, well, you know, as I'm usually kind of a 50-50 shot here or there, get ID'd, and he takes a quick look, and he goes, you got a young complexion.
Complexion?
That's what he said to me, a young complexion, and then he drops, no homo.
What does that mean?
Like, that means, like, he's not hitting on me.
Yeah, you have nice skin, but he's not trying to pick you up.
Yeah. A very youthful look,
he
says. I said, well, thanks. I go...
If it's the dude that I'm thinking, that guy's like 25.
He's got beard. He's got really bad fake accent. Works at...
okay, because there's two of them. There's the guy you really can't understand.
No, you can understand this guy.
Okay.
Quiet, a little bit quieter.
Okay, the guy who was hungover the last time we were in there. Okay, yeah. No, that guy.
Yeah. No homo.
Well, why did he say that? I get the other guy.
Like, I didn't have my dick out, so I don't understand why... Like, was I didn't do anything.
No. He looked at your driver's license, and then when he saw you seeing him looking at the driver's license, he assumed that was him coming on to you and just wanted to clear that up.
Like, if I was going to try to pick him up,
Yeah.
Obviously my game is fucking fire, so it would have been locked down. But I would have just done the casual, greasy, hand him my ID and a little bit of a finger tap.
Yeah,
just
I know.
to let
One
him
of
know
those,
I'm there.
Yeah.
Just to let him know I'm
Yeah.
there.
But then if he would have hit you with the no homo, you're done.
Then it's over.
Yeah. That spark is just... Oh, what I thought was there with this pikey liquor store clerk is done.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
The fantasies of going off to the...
I guess I'll go back to my wife.
Overrated. Anyways, so we've had a big week this week, guys and gals. If there's any females listening, we've got 6 weeks under our belt.
I feel like there may be some females listening. We hope there are. We're trending almost worldwide. Mind you, Don, last week was one of our least viewed episodes. And our first dislike.
It was
YouTube.
our first dislike, that's for sure. That's happened.
And we actually had some comments that I had to take down as the administrator just because they were so offensive towards probably the shittiest person on earth. But I felt like, don't kick a man in the nuts when you've already kicked him on the ground.
Yeah.
And of course, no surprise that our least viewed and our most disliked was the episode featuring Chris Hinton.
Yes.
So I'm contemplating taking it down altogether, but I feel like we just kind of...
I think...
You'd lose the timeline for listeners who aren't involved on a week-to-week basis, so I can't do that.
I just think that we take our lumps, and it is what it is. We move forward.
We've learned.
We learn from our mistakes. That's the point of being a human being and a grown adult is, you know what? You take your lumps, you learn from your mistakes, you move forward. You move on. You don't let some big idiot come in here with a backpack and, he's 33 and he's carrying a backpack like a...
What the fuck's he got a fucking school bag for?
Yeah, he can't even read.
He can't even read.
And plays some game called A Bear versus the Bears at the Bears, and just because all he wants to talk about is the Bears. And we're a fantasy relevant podcast, and guess what team isn't fantasy relevant? The Bears.
Or a bear.
Or a bear. Or a bear.
Yeah, they're going into winter hiding.
Yeah.
No one needs them.
Yes.
So no, not a bear or da bear is relevant at this time of year.
No, I agree. But that's what Hinton brings to the table.
To contrast
Pure shit.
that, though, I know that you received a phone call. I did as well. From... Should we name?
No, we don't.
A member.
He gets uppity when you name him.
He does get uppity. For a little man with a big head and small hands, he gets uppity. But this gentleman from our league, he called us with some fantastic praise. I'm not sure if you read into the situation that I did, but he called us fantasy gurus.
Yes.
He was appreciative of all the advice we've been giving him over the airwaves.
Yes.
On his roster moves in and out. And I'm speaking for myself as a man who really respects the industry that we're in and respects all industries that I've worked in previous to this.
Sure.
We respect the industry.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. We always have, we always will, because we're stand-up gentlemen. We appreciate such great feedback. And we're doing our best. Some people take our advice, some people don't. We don't care what you do, but to hear that it's really turned around this guy's fantasy season, and it's good. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
While we're on a similar subject, I received a text message from somebody in the league, and they were upset that I was spoiling their secrets. Like, for example, last week I was saying, maybe trade Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
Just one fantasy owner. I'm not going to say his name.
Yep.
And he messaged me, I believe at 4 a.m, complaining that I had stolen his idea to trade Kareem Hunt. Well, he listened to the podcast, then texted me telling me that I stole the idea. So I'm not sure exactly how I would have done that, because he didn't offer me any Kareem Hunt trades, or else I would have it would have seemed counterproductive.
It would have, yeah.
But it is what it is. We appreciate both constructive feedback and positive feedback. Anything we can do to make the listening experience better. You're taking your hard-earned time. I'm sure you're bored sitting in your car or at the laptop doing nothing, and you're listening to us, and we just appreciate that.
It's fantastic, and as always, we do invite anybody who wants to come on and defend themselves or give us more praise.
I just opened the phone lines.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. I know to just throw that in there.
You could have done that in about 5 seconds as I was about to finish.
I know.
as I was saying, you are more than welcome to let us know and come on and do a guest spot. We didn't book anybody for today, but that's okay. We had a late cancellation, and we had
move on. We had a late cancellation, and I don't hold grudges per se, but you can't make it. Is it over? I don't want to say it's not over. Is it over?
You might not get back because there's only so many weeks, and there's only so many people who want to be involved.
Yeah, I know.
And we're gonna get the Gabbagool next week to be our special guest.
Yeah.
I feel like that's food. Is it food?
I think it's food. I think what it is...
Or is it a guy?
I think it's another name for gravy. And I don't think Italians have, like, gravy in the traditional way that we think of gravy. Their gravy is, like, meat in red sauce. It's been, like, cooked down for, like, 10 hours. Like a bolognese, but with, like, bone marrow and, like, pig snout. And it's been going all day, and that's the Gabbagool.
Well, we're going to find out. And if, for some reason, we're able to figure out how to podcast from Rome, we will... We'll let you know about the Gabbagool.
Yeah. As somebody who's been to Rome 4 times, I should know some Italian, but no. Anyways, so let's move on. We've had a big week, guys. I'm so happy that we've actually been paying attention to the advice that we're giving. And it's not just Mike taking the advice, it's everybody. We made the call, you guys answered. We said, let's make moves, and finally teams make moves. So first things...
Well...
Okay.
Brad Friend or Amit Gajar, it's probably Brad Friend, started this whole thing off with the crying and the tears on the message board. Stop trying to get the number 1 receiver for a kicker. And we know what they're gonna do. They've picked up some great players in the draft. Hopkins has panned out for them, which is great. Antonio Brown was a no-brainer for them. They didn't get their Seahawks D, which hurt. But it's okay, I picked them up this week. And
yeah, I see that. How are they on the bench?
Because, as all teams know, when you draft a defense not in the last round, inevitably when it comes their bye week, you'll have to drop them.
No, but what I'm saying is that how did Brad and Meat not just hold on to them for dear life?
No, and Nightingale dropped them.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
So that's fine. I'll pick them up. I'll put them on my bench, and now I don't have to worry about a defense for the rest of the year. And thanks, Mr. Nightingale. That was great.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, don't hurt that. So anyway, so they started this whole crying thing, and... they're never going to trade Antonio Brown or DeAndre Hopkins like they should.
And is that who they have? Those two?
Yeah, they got studs.
Oh,
yeah, they got studs.
Okay.
Hopkins has turned it around. He's getting like 18 targets a game. It's ridiculous.
He's number 1.
It's ridiculous. Mr. Faneuf will fight for his boy Will Fuller, thinking he's the greatest gift to earth.
Will Fuller the 5th. Will Fuller the 20 yards, 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, he's got 4 touchdowns, but he's got 4 catches, and he's got 5 targets.
So this year's Martavis Bryant.
It's literally...
Or last year's Will Fuller.
Sure, last year's Will Fuller. I can tell you this, I want nothing to do with Will Fuller. Unless I see those targets go from 2 and 3 a game to whatever, you can't bank on those boomer bust plays happening. So until he starts getting 8, 9, 10 targets, then you can start talking to me about Will Fuller. But until then, no thanks. Someone in my other league tried to offer me Will Fuller
for what?
Thielen. It was Fuller and Abdullah for Thielen and Mixon. No, and I wasn't.
It's Fuller and Abdullah for Thielen, and that's it. Yeah, full stop. Yeah. There's no add-on to that.
Yeah, I'm taking Thielen, who's getting 11, 12 targets.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like if you're not adding, what is that? What's the upgrade? You're downgrading at running back and downgrading at wide receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a Chris Hinton trade.
It is. People look at numbers, they don't look deep into the numbers, and that's what we're trying to teach you on the podcast.
Now that I've mentioned Chris Hinton, do you think we're going to get a dislike on our YouTube video this year?
I hope so. All press is good press.
Yeah, I mean...
We don't have him on, though, so we might not get one.
Fair enough.
That's where we're at. Okay, so let's talk trade. Let's talk Aaron Rodgers for Leonard Fournette.
Okay, so if you're a longtime listener of the podcast, you understand that we have a segment called Has Perry Traded Drew Brees Yet? And Corey, has he?
No.
And that
he hasn't.
And that was the Has Perry Traded Drew Brees Yet? So that segment remains strong because what Perry did was traded Aaron Rodgers. And for somebody that he drafted in the second round, Aaron Rodgers, top 3 quarterback, rest of the season, top 3 quarterback this season already, top 3 quarterback across the board. And he managed to somehow sell high? Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Leonard Fournette and Brian Hoyer, or just Aaron Rodgers? Like, let's do the math on that. Pick bye-week quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, 15 points, and Leonard Fournette, 32 points. That's 45 points. Versus Aaron Rodgers, 28 points.
This is my problem, and this is the way that I look at trades, and I know some of us look at them differently, but you're now, instead of having Eli Manning or whoever is on the waiver wire quarterback and Leonard Fournette, who combined are going to put up more points than Aaron Rodgers, now you just have Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Stewart, who had, negative points this week? I don't know.
Yeah, negative 0.8, I think.
Would you rather have Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Stewart, or Brian Hoyer, Eli Manning, Blake Bortles, and Leonard Fournette?
And Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants Jonathan Stewart.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is it
hurts. I think you're because this is always your argument, and it never held more. Oh, here we go. Sorry to interrupt.
We got our first phone call.
We have our first phone call. Brad, friend, go ahead. You're on the podcast.
How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You guys into the sauce on a Friday night doing your podcast?
You've come into the realm of multiple time caller. You're now a regular.
You're a regular, as it were.
Which is great.
I would like a nickname, please.
Okay, well, we'll work on that.
We'll come up with it. You won't enjoy it, but we'll come up with it.
It definitely won't be anything racially suggestive like your team name, that's for sure, because I don't purport anything like that.
I would say our team name is environmentally friendly. Yes.
Great counter argument, and we could have that debate all night.
Brad, we've already been talking about your team earlier today.
What were we saying?
Well, we were just talking about just things that you've been doing and how you were upset. And I maintained that we sparked the trade debate, and us last week talking about how everybody should be trading. And Corey maintains that it was your little, I don't want to say sulking fit, but your little tirade on the message board there about being upset that people were offering you trades for Hopkins and or Brown, and you got mad. And so Corey thinks that that's what sparked it. I think that it was our sound advice of people need to start making moves here.
Yeah, so for the record, it's not salting. I would go with tirade.
Okay.
The case. Like, use your brain, look at another team that has needs that you can fulfill.
Well, Brad, you got to give us a little bit of an insight here, because it's, don't offer us a trade for the best wide receiver and for a kicker or a shitty whoever. Like, what are you getting offered out there? What are you seeing out in the trade market?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that too. Who is offering you what?
You don't got to give us names. Just offer us examples of what a trade offer would be.
Okay, somebody tried to get Hopkins, Zach Ertz, who are both number one in their positions at the time, and Doug Martin, who's number 60, but obviously he's a starting running back. He's going to put up points. He's been out for 4 weeks.
Those three packaged?
Offered us, what did they offer us? I forget what they offered us. They offered us a really good quarterback, which we could stand to improve if Matt Ryan doesn't do anything. Right. And then 2 shitheads that would play on our bench.
Well, they wouldn't play on your bench. You'd be forced to start them, unfortunately, because your bench is pretty soft.
Is it though?
Well, you got Mohamed Sanu, who's out, Chris Thompson, who's dog shit, Carson Palmer, who can't throw a ball, and Orleans Darkwa, who's behind Wayne Gallman, and an extra defense who sucks. So, I mean, you tell me.
We got backs, bro. We got backs.
You do have backs. That's what you said. You did. You have backs.
Where?
Medium. We got medium backs. Well, Thompson, who you're saying is dog shit, is number 6 in the league.
He had 1 game, because that's why.
He's had 3 games, but that's fine.
He played in 3? I've only noticed them in 1.
Maybe you should pay more attention then.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on this one, Brad. I don't think he's a top 10, but he's had himself a good year. But he's kind of come back down to earth, but I would start him in a flex position, so you're fine there. Corey's just
Jerick McKinnon, I know he only had 1 good game, but once his mess is out now, so he's going to start getting some points.
Right.
I'm not saying these guys are RB1s, but we've got decent running backs on our bench if we need to use them.
Sure.
Anyhow, that was my rant. Like, if you're going to try and make a trade, I understand maybe wanting to win the trade, but try and do something logical that's going to improve both teams. Because why would somebody want to make a trade if it's going to make your team worse. Like, use your head when you're trying to make a trade offer.
Now, did
somebody offered us Carlos Hyde for DeAndre Hopkins, just straight up offering us a guy who's number 12 in the league as a running back, who's probably going backwards for the guy who's number 1 in the league in wide receiver. And where does that make sense to me?
I've had a poor Carlos Hyde offer trade to me as well, and I respectfully declined. Brad, did you send back? I'm
gonna find out
counters?
who has Carlos Hyde. Bonjour.
Brad, did you send back a counter to that
that's
offer?
going to be my question. So, Brad, what do you want? Tell me, ideally, what do you want for DeAndre Hopkins? What do you want for Antonio Brown? And who do you value higher?
Hopkins.
You value Hopkins higher than Brown?
Long term, most certainly. Maybe today Brown, but Hopkins. Roethlisberger could retire at the end of the year, then you got nobody tossing him the ball.
Sure. Fair. And Brown's had no success with any other quarterback.
You're already phoning in this year. You're looking towards keeping Hopkins next year. That's what your thought process is. Not the 20 targets that Antonio Brown gets.
It would depend on who's throwing the ball to Antonio Brown next year.
Well, when we get rid of keepers next year, your point's going to be moot.
Well, sure. Anyhow,
Corey takes the technique of berate the callers when they call into this podcast. I'm more receptive. So, Brad, again, okay, so fine. You value DeAndre Hopkins more. That's totally cool. I'm not this season so far. You're right. So I'm not going to disagree with you there. So give me your ideal. What do you want for DeAndre Hopkins? You're struggling a little bit at quarterback there. You got
running back.
You have Cousins. So who do you have? You have Ryan and Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So that and you could use a little bit of more stiffening in your running back. So give me an idea. I assume you'd want a 2-for-1 if you want Hopkins, right?
Yeah, I'm going to want a good running back, and I'm going to want a wide receiver that I can put in my lineup.
Okay,
potentially, or an excellent running back.
Okay, so you'd take. Okay, so hypothetically, Perry's listening to this podcast right now. Would you move Hopkins for Leonard Fournette? Corey's listening right now. Do you move Hopkins for Melvin Gordon?
No.
Do you? Okay, so what running backs are we talking about? What about Mike's listening right now? Because we know he is. He doesn't want to let us know he is, but he is. So do you move Kareem Hunt for Hopkins?
Possibly, if I get somebody that can plug in a wide receiver back.
So you want Kareem Hunt and for Hopkins?
Yeah, I might be willing to part with one of my other running backs, not named Doug Martin as well.
Okay, what is the Le'Veon Bell? Is that what I'm getting here? Le'Veon Bell for Hopkins? Will you take that?
Oh yeah, you bet.
Okay, but so what I'm trying to figure out is who's the. You said a very good back, and so what I'm saying is what is the other like? If you Le'Veon Bell, I can't think of another running back comparison.
I'm hearing from Brad is that he's valuing wide receivers more than running backs.
Okay, so okay.
If he's not willing to trade the best running back for the best wide receiver, he values wide receivers more than running backs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an interesting take. So is that where we're at, Brad? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not saying I would or wouldn't do that. I'm not going to sit here on air and say this is exactly what I do and this is what I would not do.
Yeah.
But there's got to be value in a trade for both teams.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, if somebody wants to offer me an RB1 for Mohamed Sanu, I'm not going to say no to that.
Right.
But that person would be an idiot.
Right.
Our stance, as always, is that it looks to be that your bench is thin. I know that you think it's not bad.
Why you gotta try?
I'm just saying then you have the opportunity to trade for some depth.
Right. That is our stance. That's the podcast stance here. Okay, so now Antonio Brown.
That's great. That's great, but when you get down to it, when you go into a game, whether it's playoffs or regular season, yes, sure, regular season you want depth, but when you get down to it, when you're in the playoffs, who gives a fuck what 6 guys are on your bench?
I agree.
Like I would look at trading you Antonio Brown and Doug Martin for Melvin Gordon and Mike Evans.
Thoughts?
Why would I do that?
Because you get a way, way, way better running back and a comparable wide receiver.
Comparable.
Okay, Brad. See, now, remember how you started this conversation? You started this phone call, and I said that I was on your side. okay, if you're not willing to make a move like that, I'm not sure what you're hoping for. If you can only trade Hopkins for Le'Veon Bell, it's just tough. Like if you can't expand, I don't know what to do for you.
That's where we're at. All right,
Are
Brad.
you taking commissions on these trades, Dono? Is that what's happening?
Sorry, say that again, pal?
Are you taking commissions on these trades?
We're just talking it out,
No,
buddy. We're
we're
just
just-
talking it out. We do appreciate your phone call.
Because
We're at 10 minutes.
Okay, it's just we are, Brad. Brad, we're gonna have to let you go in a second, but I just want to, just as a final thought, I appreciate the phone call. A, B, we know everybody's listening, and one of the things that happens in our league, especially, is that we make a trade or don't make a trade. Some guy gets insulted, like you obviously did earlier in the week, and that's fine. And then you made a little rant about it, and that's okay too. But the thing is that sometimes people are making trades to try to lead to something. Hey, I want that player. What would you like off my team from it? And then the response is either, hey, fuck you, I don't want anything, and you're insulting me by making that offer, and there's no counter offer. So by us breaking down your thoughts on what your guys are valued, everybody in the league just got to hear what they can expect to offer you for those guys. And that's great. And I think that everybody should have their time to do that, but not everybody makes the phone call. Brad, you're the guy with the balls to make the phone call, and we appreciate that here at the Coquitlam Whiskey Barrel Podcast.
We love our loyal listeners. We can't thank you enough. We hope you call back next week.
Okay, Brad?
Can I add one further comment, and I'm going to hang up and listen?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
What you said there, Donovan, about making a counter offer, that's something I would do if somebody made
Sorry, say
offer worth. That's something I would do if somebody made an offer worth countering.
Got it.
But when you do something so stupid and you're so far apart, I look at that and think to myself, why do I want to talk to this guy if that's where he's
I understand that.
Yeah, I get it. Don't offer me a kicker for Le'Veon Bell. We're not having a conversation.
If that's what you think the offer is that's going to get done, then the offer that's actually going to get done, he won't even consider, so there's no point. I understand that, Brad.
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks a lot, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, keep it up, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
So that's kind of what I'm saying is we get to this point. Like, there's the deal. Mike Evans and Melvin Gordon for Antonio Brown and Doug Martin.
Yeah, he almost contradicted himself with that one. I was on his side completely.
Yeah.
Until it's, wait, what? That's an offer that you're kind of looking for. Yeah. I think he's looking for a 2-for-1. I think
but he's expecting too much of a running back.
And that's the problem. And that's okay, and that's fine. But what's his team at?
His issue is Mark Ingram, right? Yeah. And we don't know if Doug's going to be Doug, and we don't know if Jerick McKinnon. Who knows with that backfield? We're not sure yet. Great week last week. Who knows? So he needs a starting running back, but don't go after Le'Veon Bell. Go after Ty Montgomery.
We differ on our values.
I know we do.
So pick somebody else.
Okay, let's go after...
It would be perfect irony. It would be go after Doug Martin and... It would be T.Y. Hilton and Doug Martin would be perfect for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by expanding your benches. Like, this is how you build a team. Resting on the two guys to get you there. And I don't know if Brad is... Nobody's more than 2 and 3 or 3 and 2. It's all neck and neck, as we were discussing earlier. And that was off podcast. Believe me, kids, there's not that much talk off podcast because I start talking and Corey literally goes, "Shut up! Save it for the fucking podcast."
We leave too much on the cutting room floor. Here's my last one, and then we're gonna move on. Okay. Jordan Howard and Brandon Cooks.
Jordan Howard and Brandon Cooks for DeAndre
Hopkins.
Oh, that's an interesting. So that's something to look at.
That's kind of where I'm at.
And that's what I'm saying. Yep. And that's great. And all of a sudden, you've just got that, right?
Yeah.
Like I just, while we're still talking trades, I just made a trade. Oh, sorry, we just got a message.
Oh, into the Ashley Sayers inbox. It was we opened up the inbox last week, and we're opening it up again.
Okay, so Perry's entered Ashley Sayers' box.
First of all, Perry, call. Why are you so... You won't come on, you won't call, you just don't want your stupid voice being heard, or what?
Okay, so Perry here... Okay, Perry, I'm just going to read this in full. I haven't read it yet. So
Perry, how do you feel that your son has a better fantasy record than you do in the dumb River Springs League?
That's not the league we're talking about.
I know, but it's great still. I'd be proud of my
Mick
kid.
still beating him?
I would be proud of my kid.
I was
if that
with Perry
their
the
kid.
other day, and he
Yeah.
said, he's like, I'm going to stay in that one just because my kid's in it. He's like, I'm dumping basically
So good.
every other one.
I would be.
It
He's
would be
must be the
so
most
dope.
proud.
Isn't that the dream?
He's the proudest dad
One
there
day
is.
you and your son can draft together.
And you just talk
I know.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right, sorry,
into
Perry.
the Ashley
Okay,
Sayers
so I'm
inbox.
assuming, Perry, this is all above board before I read it because I'm not proofreading it before I go. So here we are. Wow, boys, love the phone-in option. Just a question tonight. Next year, with the extra funds, we should have GM of the Year prize voted by the group. Sayers, 0 chance at that. Second question. Who has the most fantasy points right now? Love the podcast and both of you. So, okay, so the first question is, should we have a GM of the Year? So, you know where he's going with that, so let's just address that.
So GM of the Year would factor in drafts, waiver wire, and trades.
So far, right? I think they blend in together because I know where he's going. He's had the most devastating injuries.
He's had a very difficult year.
We lambasted his 2 quarterback strategy
Yeah,
more
we
than
have.
anybody.
Yeah.
He's been dragged across the coals almost as much as our big-headed commissioner that we won't even name anymore.
Yeah.
And he's still connecting to question number 2, who has most points? It is Perry.
Yeah, well, I will say nobody wants to lose a stud. Nobody wants to lose 2.
I know.
That hurts. So
We went over it. Odell Beckham, his number 1 pick, gone. His number 2 pick, Aaron Rodgers, he just traded. His number 3
Dalvin
pick,
Cook, gone.
And then his 4. So he doesn't actually have a pick from the draft till 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Rounds 4 and 5.
So now we're going to see where his team goes, though. He's lost Aaron Rodgers. He's lost Dalvin Cook. He's lost Odell Beckham. He's replaced them with Drew Brees and Leonard Fournette. Great.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, who knows if he's going to take over. He probably will take over the backfield this week. It might be a flip-flop.
Right.
He's got Willie Snead. Hasn't played yet. We don't know what he's going to do. Devonta Adams, impressive he came back after getting killed.
Trevathan killed him.
So hopefully he can keep his trend going. He picked up Ed Dixon after his 1 hot week. He's not going to do that again. No one's thrilled with that. And he's got a flyer on AP who hasn't done much of anything. I mean, this week he's got AP, I think, in his starting lineup, and I'm throwing Duke Johnson in ahead of him, hands down.
So now, the 2 things I would say to that is, so, again, like we preach, make moves.
Yeah.
He's been doing that.
Yes. He's been forced to.
Yeah, I know, but he's been doing it.
Yeah.
But he's been doing it.
He hasn't phoned it in.
Yeah, he hasn't been like, well, fuck it.
There were so many people
remember
out there.
2 years ago when Marshawn Lynch got hurt and Sully was just like, well, my season's over. I got Calvin Johnson, though. We're like, well, why don't you trade Calvin Johnson? No. Okay, well, you're just going to lose then. Yeah. Well, I lose then. Oh, okay. So he's been forced to make moves. He's been making moves. And so far, most points, he's keeping that going. I can't fault the man for trading a quarterback for a top 4 running back. I mean,
that was the steal of the season so far.
So far,
yep.
So if it's, listen. Put this on the record for everybody listening. I don't want to gas Tascona's tires up. Okay, when I told him the other day on the phone, when Perry's having too much fun and smiling too much in our fantasy league, it's a cold day in hell. But that being said, what GM has dealt with more adversity, and what GM has made more moves?
You know, they always say there's no good movie without a great villain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Perry loves to be that villain.
Being the hero that I am in this league and the voice of public opinion and trying to always strive to do my best and do my best upon others.
Yeah.
It's nice to have an adversary that I can go head to head with, and at the end of the day, you hope good wins over evil.
And he wants that. He wants that head to head. He wants that debate. He wants that. So we get what you're saying, Perry. You want GM
of the Year.
You're honored. And I'm struggling to see what's the argument. Nobody's lost more and gained more and done so far. I'm not saying the year's not over.
I would argue that Patterson's had a tough go.
And what has he done?
He's lost David Johnson. He's now probably lost Zeke.
Okay. And what's Brad doing to redeem that?
I'm not too sure. I'll find out at Sam's on conference finals.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Has Brad reached out to you for trades and things like that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I know you're scrambling around because you want to tell Perry to fuck himself, and this GM's better, but it's.
I'm looking for Patterson's team. I can't even find it. Oh, there it is.
It's on fire somewhere because it was the best team after the draft, and that's fantasy football though. Best team after the draft versus
don't sulk after your draft
versus a guy who we laughed at after the draft versus a guy we praised after the draft. One's got most points. One is all red marks next to his players. Brad,
he's got the alphabet. There's a Q, an IR, an SSPD, a D, an O. It's
my.
How long does he hold on to 3 quarterbacks? Like, is Andrew Luck really worth it at this point?
No, I wouldn't even know. Do you pick him up if he's on the waiver wire? I don't.
I might be. No, well, myself personally, no.
I don't. I've got Brady and Carson Wentz.
I've got number 5. I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
No. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next trade. We got a little bit sidetracked, but it's great. We love the phone calls. We love the questions. Perry, my answer to your question of your idea of doing GM of the year and giving some cash, if it's like a silent hidden vote, this league isn't capable of making that decision. I don't think it is. There's too many variables to maybe make the smart choice. I think it can't be a gray issue that we all decide on. It's got to be kind of black and white, and this is where we're going to spend some extra money.
Okay, but here I'll also go one further. Just like the NFL with the MVP, it's going to be tough at the end of the year to go, well, the GM who made it all the way and won isn't the GM of the year.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. The Super Bowl winning quarterback, how is not the MVP of the Super Bowl?
It's very rare that you can win in a league like this, and as somebody who's won multiple times to count, too many.
And accepted the belt.
Been a proper champion.
Right.
I know what it takes to win, so and it's never I drafted well and I'll just sit there.
Yeah.
It's never I drafted well and I'll sit there.
No.
And so it is those moves, and that's what we're recommending on the podcast. And Perry, you know what? You're welcome. You're welcome for the advice that we've been giving, and you know what? Congratulations to you for taking that advice and running with it, not getting stale, not getting sour. You went, you know what? You guys are mocking me about Drew Brees. How about I trade Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback in the game, and keep Drew Brees? Thank you for letting us keep our segment, Perry. We appreciate that.
That we do, because it's the feedback that we have gotten. It's one of the most popular segments on the podcast, and it looks like it's going to run for 16 weeks, which is spectacular. Let's move on to Nightingale and Kurt Steele.
Yeah. Okay.
So Nightingale trades Kurt, Tyreek Hill, Lamar Miller, and Russell Wilson for Le'Veon Bell.
Nightingale, you gave up a lot.
He gave up a lot. Full disclosure, Nightingale approached me with the same trade offer earlier in the week. Unfortunately, it included Melvin Gordon and Larry Fitzgerald for Lamar Miller, Tyreek Hill, and Russell Wilson. Now, on paper, that looks like a good deal.
Okay.
The way that I see the trade and the way that most people see the trade is it would actually be Melvin Gordon, Larry Fitzgerald, and Dak for Lamar Miller, Tyreek Hill, and Russell Wilson. So I downgrade on running back. It's a wash / maybe an upgrade to Tyreek and wide receiver.
Yep.
And at this standings, currently I downgrade at quarterback. So I downgrade in 2 positions and get a wash in 1. There's no trade. That doesn't make sense to me, and that's why I didn't respond. I looked at his team and tried to make a counteroffer, but there just wasn't anything there of value to get the 2 players that he wanted.
Yep. Fair.
Not that I'm trading Dak back to him, but now Dak sits on my bench or Wilson sits on my bench. You can't start 2 quarterbacks. There's no point in trading for a quarterback if you don't need one.
Yeah. He included Russell Wilson in a couple of trade offers to me, to which I responded, I have the number 1 and number 4 quarterbacks. Why do I want...
There's no need.
Yep.
And I understand why he's trying to get rid of Russell Wilson. He's got Alex Smith, who's been impressive this year and for no reason, and no one knows why. And that's great. I understand why he wants a stud like a Melvin Gordon or like a Le'Veon Bell, because he's just loaded with scat backs.
But he's got backs. He's got depth. He can trade that. Tyreek Hill and Russell Wilson were both on his bench.
Yeah. Well, he's got Alvin Kamara, who's going to get even more touches now.
Yeah.
I think last night in the Thursday nighter, Christian McCaffrey had something like 10 or 11 targets.
Yeah.
Although he had, I don't know, I can't remember how many times he carried the ball, 4 or 5 carries for -6 yards. So he's not a running back.
He's not between the tackles.
No.
He's not. He is an outside. He's a little dump off guy. He's a little sneak around the lineman. Catch that. That's what he does.
Nightingale has a fantastic PPR lineup. He's got McCaffrey, Kamara, Julio Jones. Like, it doesn't get better for PPR than that. Unfortunately, we're standard.
But Julio is also...
Well, it's going to turn around for Julio. Everyone knows that it is. You can't deny a guy who's that big, that fast.
I love... Hey, you know I love Julio, but he's
been a bust so far.
He's been a bust so far, and now we're
coming off the bye.
But we've got injury concerns as well. I don't know if I see high hopes for Julio.
Sure.
That being said, Nightingale, you want to trade me Julio, I'll take him in a heartbeat because I really enjoy him.
Yep. Yeah, and he's hit the jackpot with Chris Hogan. He's come out on top of Brandon Cooks, it looks like, so far.
Yep.
And that's been great. So the unfortunate thing is he's now dealt away Tyreek, Lamar Miller, and Russell Wilson. So all of his depth for...
But that's what that's what we're promoting.
Yeah.
Take your depth and consolidate.
Yeah.
I'm just more of a fan of doing that closer to the playoffs.
Closer to the playoffs, for sure.
Because the second Kamara gets hurt, or the second
Lev Bell goes down,
or which he will, 100,000%.
Yeah.
Kurt made a good call getting rid of that guy. He's never. I know the people that have had Lev Bell on their team. They're going, "What? He's got lots." He's never won you a championship. He might have gotten you to the dance. He's never won the championship game. Sorry, he's never been there. But I mean, Nightingale, good work.
Yeah, great value for Kurt for sure.
Yeah, Kurt need to expand it on his depth. It's the same thing. Kurt expanded his depth. Nightingale consolidated it. Yeah. But it's not just sitting, being stagnant, doing nothing.
Yeah. So we're up and down on it. I'm not too sure who won that trade. We're going to find out come playoff time.
Of course, absolutely.
Last one, I'll talk about it. You can defend or deny, or you can not contribute, whatever you'd like. I'll just kind of break it down for you. So Dan traded you Dez
Bryant
for Gillislee and Amendola.
Yeah.
Kind of two boomer busts for... Dez has looked good this year. Mm-hmm. He's come back around a little bit. That, I think, has a lot to do with Dak. Now that they don't have Zeke, I think Dez's value goes up.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah. Amendola, when healthy, has looked great. Amendola's kind of the 4-catch rule, because he can usually only get hit about 4 times, and then he's out of the game. So why they ever have him, like, returning punts, that just takes away one of his hits. Like, he can't then catch up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, if we're playing Street Fighter, and you're down into the red bar of your hit points, you're not trying to get hit. Danny Amendola lives in the red bar. He lives. It's 3 hits, and finish him.
But he's always got that knockout punch.
He's always got that knockout punch. Yeah, he's Blanca. He
always
crouches, he gets low, and he just greases you with a lightning strike, and it's game over.
Exactly. He's good for 8 and 80, and if he gets you a touchdown, you're thrilled with it.
Gillislee, we're going to see touchdown dependent for sure. Going to get the goal line carries. They're working Dion Lewis back into the lineup a lot. Burkhead's been out. He's coming back. James White has been the pass-catching guy, even though Dion Lewis is taken away from it. So we'll see with Gillislee. I think
he has a big week this week against the Jets.
I think this is the week. I think this is the week to play him. So I understand that Dan's playing you this week. So it'll be interesting to see if that trade turns the tide and who wins coming out of that trade. Mind you, Mike, push the trade through. Jesus Christ, like, it happened at 10 a.m. this morning. It happened 12 hours ago. Push it through, Mike.
Yeah. Well, moreover, is I think part of the reason Dan accepted the trade is we're playing each other, so it takes away 2 of my starters and gives me a guy on the bye. So it gives him
3 starters basically.
Yeah,
so
3. Yeah. So it handcuffs me for this week, and Dan wants a win. But I'd just like to point out that me and Dan make a trade, guys that aren't important in Mike's life because Mike's that type of commissioner, and it's been 14 hours. There's not going to be a veto. We don't veto in this league unless it's absolute collusion and bullshit.
I haven't seen a veto in this league since I've been in it.
No, I can't remember one. There's always been us in a group yelling and saying shit.
Yeah.
But when Perry, who Mike, is much closer with, makes a trade that is absolutely absurd, that's pushed through within an hour. So that's funny just to see how the commissioner works at just a regular basis. That's Commissioner Mike, not General Manager Mike. We don't talk about General Manager.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
We're just talking about players in the Whiskey Barrel podcast. That's where it starts. That's where it ends.
Okay. Absolutely. So that's trades.
That's the trades of the week, which has been great. It's great to see.
I love it.
Week.
Oh, it's been impressive.
Yeah.
I texted Perry after I made a trade. I said, "Hey, look, I made a trade too. Like, it's an inspiration. I'm thrilled. Like, that's great."
He was very excited about his deal, posting on the boards right after. He's a bit of a fantasy reaper this year, hurting all his young studs and good players.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Sorry that your season's going to end in the next couple weeks.
I have no shares of Leonard Fournette, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, like sell. If you are in other leagues and you have Leonard Fournette, deal him now because Perry just traded for him and he's bound to get hurt. That's what it is. He's the fantasy reaper and he's coming for you. Like I said, good versus evil.
Yeah.
Good versus evil.
It's tough to identify you as the good part in this.
That's what's so vexing.
Oh yeah, I get it. and only history will write itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rome was built in a day.
Yeah, the winners are the ones who decide who the good people are,
exactly.
who the not good people are.
Winners get wins.
Where are we at time-wise?
We're good. We want to take a quick pause here. We'll get a quick beverage,
quick
refreshment, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll be back in mere seconds, and you won't even notice that we were even gone.
Yeah.
We're back at it here. We've got new beverages, and we're ready to rock.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone over the trades. We've gone kind of over things. You don't really feel like we need to go over last week's matchups? You weren't? Were you not thrilled with it? Or
No, that's not it. I just didn't think we had to go over last week's ad drops. I didn't think that there was that much action on the waiver wire.
No, you know what? The one thing I will say, and it didn't bite me in the ass, is something that you probably should never do, but I tend to do anyways. Well, I mean, as any good GM, you're going to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday just to check injuries, maybe a little bit of a couple weather reports. Who's
not
in,
even
who's out.
asleep by 9 a.m.
Yeah, I know. It's a whole thing. But about 9:55 on Sunday morning, I'm looking at I don't have Jordan Reed, so I need to play a tight end. Who's on the waiver wire, who's not. I've got Ed Dixon in there.
Yeah.
And decent matchup against Detroit. It's okay, but I see Jesse James out there, and I see that Pittsburgh's at home, which is always great for Ben.
Yeah.
I see that they're playing Jacksonville, which means Antonio Brown's going to be on with AJ Bouye or with Jalen Ramsey, and vice versa, Martavis Bryant, whoever else.
Yeah.
Both wide receivers are covered by absolute stud cornerbacks,
Yeah.
so those dump offs in the middle are going to be free, and that's why I picked up Jesse James instead of Ed Dixon.
Yep.
0 yards to 175. Thankfully, it didn't bite me in the ass, and I won by a 10 or so points, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you can always second guess yourself at 9:45 in the morning, and if you set your lineup at 9 a.m. injury free, you've checked the weather, you've checked everything else, who's playing for the defense, if there's cornerbacks that are out. You know, Josh Norman's out right now, so no one's afraid of Washington.
Yeah.
But Patrick Peterson's been a stud, so you don't want to go up against him. It's those kind of things. Once you've got your lineup set, don't tinker.
That's what you're
Go
saying.
with your gut.
Sure.
Yeah.
You thought about it all week. 9 a.m. comes around. Don't make any last minute.
I left 17 points on the board, is what I'm saying.
It is what it is. That's not the end of the world. I've gotten cute before and started Niall Davis ahead of Jamal Charles back in the day because I thought that the secondary running back was. And I
did that in our draft this year when you took Derrick Henry over DeMarco Murray in our one-on-one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. Like I
again.
like to get cute, and then more often than not, it bites me in the ass. It just is what it is. It's not, like I say, it's not the matchups I didn't want to talk about. It's just the ad drops, like Zeke's suspension, for example. So there's another blow to Brad's team, and you know that's probably the most exciting. Is it going to be Alfred Morris? Is it going to be Darren McFadden? I don't know.
That's why it's credit to Kurt for picking up both.
He
had the flexibility to do so.
Yeah.
And he was quick on it as soon as I...
Especially considering he just traded Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Yes. So
he might have actually gotten a wash.
He used those two spots to go, boom, okay, right.
I've got another starting running back on a great team for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, but the problem is that are the Cowboys a great team?
To run the ball, and Dak's been lights out.
Dak's been great. I'm just saying, they're 2-3.
Zeke has been fantastic.
Who knows?
Here's the thing about Zeke is he can... file an appeal again with the court in the next 14 days.
They were trying to do it today.
Well, he's got 14 days to do it. So he's on bye, so it doesn't matter this week. So he could go through the bye, then play next week before his appeal has gone through, and then be suspended. Yeah. So he may not be suspended for 3 weeks. So now you're sitting on Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden on your bench for 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, but
They got a bye, so he's sitting.
Yeah.
They're both sitting on your bench this week, and next week Zeke could play if he's got a 14-day thing, so he could play in 2 weeks from now.
So here's
a week from now.
So here's an interesting strategy. I'll run this by you. Brad's got both David Johnson and Zeke. We consider them both keepers if they're both 100%, right?
Yes.
Okay, so right now, Johnson, we don't expect him to play until at least end of November, early December. Even in the playoffs, who knows? And where are the Cardinals at that point?
I heard yesterday that, or Bruce Arians said, don't expect him before American Thanksgiving, and that would be pushing it, and I think that's week 12, so the week before fantasy playoffs, so that's pushing it. So does that mean he'll get in 13-14? Even so, what's the point? I don't think David Johnson comes back.
Can I ask my question?
I was just giving you a David Johnson update.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But like I said, late November, early December. The whole point is that he's got 2 keepers. We don't allow 2 running back keepers. But you consider Zeke and David Johnson, right? Next year, if they're both healthy, they will be a first-round keeper for you. No?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. So now Brad's in this predicament. Zeke might play next week. He might not. He might play in the next 3 weeks. We don't know. But it looks like if he's going to play, he might, like from what you just said, it sounds like to me, he might have a 2-week playing window before he starts a 6-week suspension or doesn't have it. So now does Brad take bottom dollar for Zeke? Does he try to trade him, or is it just another guy that rots on his bench?
Here's where
I'm saying, Brad. If you're Brad,
Yeah.
right? You're sitting with David Johnson. You're going, okay, I'm only keeping him in the IR slot because I'm going to keep him for next year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he's got to be on Brad's bench. So why is Zeke still on his bench?
So here's my thinking. Say this whole thing happens and the 6-week suspension comes through, and it starts next week. So we're into week 6, so they're on their bye. So he misses week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back for weeks 13, 14, 15, 16. So you get him for all the fantasy playoffs. Zeke, this is.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it's looking at right now. So trade Zeke to. Here's our issue with our league, because everybody's 3-2 or 2-3. If there was a guy that was 5-0, if I was 5-0 right now, I'm trying to get Zeke.
Right.
Because I've almost locked in a playoff spot. You need 6 or 7 wins to get a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And now I can just stash Zeke on my bench until I get him for the last week of the regular season and all of fantasy playoffs.
Mm-hmm. But what if he plays for the next 2 weeks?
Then he's suspended till week 13, and you get him for just the playoffs.
Okay, so there's
risk reward.
There's one team in every league that is interested in that scenario.
I want Zeke as soon as I clinch a playoff spot. And I'll take it on a flyer, and we're going to find out more in the coming weeks. I think Brad's in a fantastic position to trade Zeke right now, because he could still play the whole year.
And I think he just goes straight to Kurt. I think Brad goes to Kurt and goes, hey, give me something for Zeke.
I'll trade you Tyreek Hill, Lamar Miller, and Russell Wilson for Zeke.
But you know what I mean? Just go to Kurt and just go, hey, look, I got Zeke. Because obviously Brad's keeping David Johnson because he's interested in having him as a keeper.
Yeah.
So
if he wasn't, he would have dropped it by now. Or another thought maybe is Brad's planning on making the playoffs, but trading David Johnson to a non-playoff team for more parts.
And that's fine, but you need to make moves with one of them. They can't all just sit there. He's got Andrew Luck too, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, okay. So he's got 3 guys rotting on his bench, and he can't do anything with them. Andrew Luck, the handcuff of the year. Handcuff you to the bottom of the ocean because you're dog shit.
But we don't know right now. Everybody's in the playoff race.
Yeah,
we're halfway through the year and everybody's still in it, so people are nervous to make moves. Mm-hmm. There's some people that should make moves and should have made them a long time ago. But we can only be fantasy gurus if you're willing to accept our advice.
Yeah, and I find that most people have been.
Yeah.
Trades have been starting after we've called for them.
Yeah.
Mike dropped half of his team.
After we told him to.
Yeah.
And then picked up players we told him to. And then dropped the players again the next week that we told him to. And then burned the chili, but we didn't tell him to do that.
No, nobody told him to burn the chili.
No.
The problem is that we will never forget about the chili.
As an absentee father / fantasy GM,
yeah,
he's burned frequent things. Bridges and food combined.
Yeah, like right now, he's all fired up, And I know what that's like because I've seen him in that state.
Yeah, he's in this gauntlet.
And guess where he is? The kitchen, burning something.
Classic fan of.
Classic fan of. So let's go over the matchups really quickly from last week. Let's go over the first one that's the most important.
The dog shit matchup / greatest win of the week.
My win over Sully, and I'm sorry, Sully, you know I love you. To win by 0.5 points is just so poetic. And not because we have any history or anything like that, but it's just when I was looking at your team going, oh, if he gets 0.5 more points, he wins. Oh, wait, he's not going to. It's over. And then I was waiting for a stat correction, waiting for something. I even had a dream. Saul, and I'm going to be honest, full
Martin
disclosure.
Luther Kingdom.
I had a dream that one day my 72.5 points would meet his 72.5 points, that I had a stat correction, and then we actually had a tie at 72.5 points. So the fact that we didn't is great for me. If I can't start putting up more than 80 points, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm thrilled that I'm 3-2 right now, but I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy that DeMarco Murray isn't producing the way I wanted him to. LaShawn McCoy isn't producing the way I wanted him to. Demaryius Thomas isn't producing the way I wanted him to. Like, all of my team, like, if you look at my team on paper, it's a good-looking team. Tom Brady is carrying it. And like
as Brady goes, you go. Why don't you trade Carson Wentz?
I've tried. I made some offers.
It's hard to trade a quarterback in this league.
It's hard. Well, apparently, it's not unless you want like a top 5 running back.
No, I
want to trade Carson Wentz. I would gladly trade Carson Wentz.
When did you draft him?
No, I picked him up.
Oh, exactly. So you shouldn't draft 2 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds because you can just pick a guy off waiver wires and he's just as good.
Why?
I just want to know if that's what you were telling me. I'm just reading facts. It's science, Don.
No, yes. Wait, look, whatever. It doesn't matter. I should trade Carson Wentz. Anybody, Prius, you need a quarterback. Little Hands, he's got Watson, who's doing well right now. So I'm sure that
he's going to ride him till he dies.
Of course, until he's dead. Yeah. And that's what Mike does. Hey, look at me. I'm the smartest guy in the league, and my team shit now. Now I'm looking at the next matchup, which is Mike versus Amit and Brad, and
his powerful matchup. Where can you pull up the box score just quickly? I just want to see 125 to 115. Where were the points? Oh, Deshaun Watson with 48.
But look where it comes on the other side. Hopkins 24 points.
But well spread out though, right? Like
yeah.
Doug Martin 13, Jerick McKinnon 21. That's not going to happen.
The
again,
balls to start Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. It ended up being a great move.
The confidence that Brad has with that phone call is just the balls to start a guy who wasn't even next on the depth chart. So to say that your team is has that much depth, Brad, if you started Jerick McKinnon, that means you were probably lacking or you had a lot of buys. Okay, all right, I'll shut up because you're right. All right, that's fine.
And Mike should be in full panic mode because he's going to rest on the fact he put up 115 points.
Yeah.
When half of those came from his quarterback, which isn't going to happen.
And now Kareem Hunt's come back down to earth.
Like everyone, he's going to be game planned for. It's just going to happen that way.
10.8 points. Mikey might be a little too late to trade Kareem Hunt.
I don't think he's going to do what he can do. And then his 18 from Will Fuller, which, like we said, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. It's boom or bust for him. So yeah. I'm looking at Mikey having a down week next week.
Well, look at Kareem Hunt, Mike. Remember when we told you to trade him, bud? 40, 22, 24. Wow, that's when we said trade him. Then 13, now 10.8. The league is catching up to Kareem Hunt. Sharkandrick West is stealing those goal line carries.
It's okay. He's got Denver D in 2 weeks. 2 weeks in a row, I think, or 2 of the next however many weeks. So he's Kareem Hunt. That's that's okay. Mikey's the new bye week, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm reading it. But as a man who, like I said, as we respect the industry, there's not much we can say more about Mike.
And then we have find me at the Galladay Inn. Hinton, this is why you're such a big piece of shit, okay? Listen, let me just put this out there right now. You're such a big piece of shit because you had something so clever with change your receiver picture, change your name, make it awkward and dad jokey, and we get it, and you're an awkward dad jokey guy. But you're like, okay, that's going to be my new thing. And then you just left it. So now it's just fucked up, not relevant at all. Galladay isn't even. How are we talking about Galladay right now? And there's no smooth notes. You know that depresses me, and that's on you. That's on you.
We're not even talking about him. We're talking about Shitty Hinton's name. So
okay.
He doesn't need to sully the name of a guy who runs such smooth routes.
They are smooth. Those routes are smooth.
They're so smooth, but we can't talk about Hinton and smooth in the same sentence.
No.
Water and oil.
Nobody's ever talked about Hinton and being smooth in the same sentence. Never happened. So, Hinton lost 72 to Brad's 76. Brad is looking like me right now, except his team is just got hurt again with Zeke, and I think he's just dropped Crowell or somebody did.
Yeah, he should have. and Devontae Parker's out. He's Jordy and Keenan Allen all the way. He needs to get some running back.
Exactly.
Well, let's pull up his bench quickly. Sorry.
Sure, absolutely. So what are we looking for Jordy Nelson?
And he's got the David Johnson bench.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. He doesn't
That's why he
have
needs to
a
trade
bench.
Zeke to somebody who's banking on it. Get a running back. And
so to Perry. Perry's fucking king of the hill right now. He thinks he's the man. So that's what needs to happen. But so Jordy Nelson, let's go across. What do you trade Jordy Nelson for? Do you take Brandon Cooks and Jordan Howard for Jordy Nelson?
That's similar to the DeAndre Hopkins trade. So that's
right. Yeah. I do. I think, and that's better for Brad. I think
better for
Hinton.
Too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So this is. I'm sorry
Can you imagine rolling out Brandon Cooks, Martavis Bryant, and Tyrell Williams and being excited about it every week?
No.
Don't worry, he's still got Brandon Marshall, Corey Davis, Wendell Smallwood.
Well, he had his boy,
and Matt Forte
the Bear, Tariq Cohen, on the bench for 1.3. Yeah. See, when the Bears don't run for 400 yards, which will never happen for the rest of the season, it turns out shitty Hinton can't come up with a fucking win either. So Hinton's got to do the same thing. Turn Todd Gurley into two people, or Brad's got to do the same thing. It's what we've been preaching the whole time, guys. It's consolidate or expand.
Yep.
But it's one of the two. It's do something. Okay, now let's look at Hinton's team really quick. Corey Davis on the bench. Brandon Marshall on the bench. Wendell Smallwood on the bench.
Matt Forte on the bench.
Just hurt guys. Just fucking hurt guys. Great.
Drop Smallwood, and you can pick him up in 3 weeks.
Drop Corey Davis or Brandon Marshall.
And drop
He's on the IR. What are we waiting for? Oh, that big breakout year week when Eli doesn't get smashed by everybody because he's fucking terrible, and the Giants are terrible, and they're 0-6. I know they haven't played this week, but they will be.
They will be. All right, next up.
Kurt.
Oh, Kurt and Perry.
Perry, nice barn burner. Not really.
Not really. It was a 20-point spread.
And that's why Kurt traded what he did. Ben Roethlisberger.
He needed
5 points at home. It's
what a
over.
Disappointment for Ben. Hey?
It's over for Ben. It's over. He said it himself. He was talking
Maybe
retirement.
I don't have it yet. Maybe
retirement in the offseason, and I don't have it anymore after. Somehow, Antonio Brown still goes crazy for 170 yards. But
yeah, because when you throw it to him 20 times, he's going to do that.
Yeah, but it's just 5 picks or 6 picks or whatever it was.
Stud defense he went up against.
Just terrible.
Fair, but...
And Kurt, I know you're listening, and I know you're pissed off that I insulted you over text message because I was pissed off that you tried to trade me Charles Clay for fucking Delaney Walker. I don't understand a guy who's going to play next week and a guy whose knee is all twisted.
He tried to pull one over on you.
He did. That's exactly what he tried to do. As if I don't know what I'm doing. And that's ridiculous. And I was insulted.
I would be too.
I was insulted.
I would be too. Let's talk about a little bit, quickly, just about Perry's matchup and Perry's team.
Okay.
It didn't work out for Latavius Murray this week. Maybe it will next week. We're still not sure on that backfield. Duke Johnson's been a PPR machine and outplaying Crowell, bar none.
Can I just say really quick?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about Latavius Murray. He's got Leonard Fournette in there.
That's true. Sure.
That's kind of
so he's got Latavius Murray or Duke Johnson, depending on how the matchup goes, right?
Yeah.
Or who's coming up.
Right.
No more Odell, so he drops down to Devontae Adams and
Snead
or Macklin. It's not looking great for his second wide receiver.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham, touchdown or not, dependent very much.
That's
so
fun. That's tight end.
Yeah.
I'm discovering not owning tight end in Gronk in all leagues. I'm discovering that tight end is the worst position in football.
I'm not drafting one next year.
Just don't.
No.
Why not?
Eddie Lacy probably a drop again. No one knows what's going on with him.
Chris Johnson's obviously a drop. Jamal Williams is a drop.
AP, he's hoping that he pulls out something, but I don't see it. But maybe he is. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
But again, here he goes.
He's got an option.
He's got options, and now he's got another player that he can now move Fournette for the... And that's the thing. Use your guys to plug up those holes anywhere else.
Yep.
Take a lesser running back and a better wide receiver and make somebody else better. Like, this is what you do, guys. Like, I'm sorry that this is Fantasy 101, but welcome to the Coquitlam Whiskey Barrel Podcast, okay? So that's that. That's a tough stretch. Kurt's got a good team for a team that's now 2-3-0.
Yeah, he's gotten better, which is great.
And he's trying, right?
Yeah.
Like, he just traded 10 points from Le'Veon Bell. I guarantee we look at Tyreek Hill, Russell Wilson, and
Lamar
Miller
in the 60, 70
and his
range.
team wins this week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Kurt, good work, man.
Well done.
Way to take our advice. Way to be a vet. We appreciate that.
A guy who's 2-3 and doesn't want to be 2-3.
Exactly. Trying to make shit happen.
Yep.
And now to the team.
The defending champ, Team Danimal, versus Paul Lalonde, someone take Carlos Hyde and Aaron Jones off my hand for dog shit. Please. It's going to be a tough go for Paul. He's going to have Freeman come back. He's going to have Gronk, which is great. Mm-hmm. But Cam returned to being Cam this week. Didn't do anything. 4 picks. Carlos Hyde's on the huge decline. Aaron Jones, who knows when Ty Montgomery comes back. Alshon's matchup dependent. Sterling Shepard's dead. Dwayne Allen will be replaced by Gronk. Alex Collins.
Dwayne Allen won't be replaced by Gronk. Dwayne Allen ran like 5 routes. Other than that, he was blocking. It's not. Tom didn't throw him the ball at all.
He made a poor choice not starting Hunter Henry.
Yeah, but there's no backup to Gronk. People need to realize that
we saw it last year with Martellus Bennett.
Yeah, he was fine, but he was
awful.
But I think he was a top 10 tight end.
That's because tight ends are so shitty.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's not Gronk's down. Don't worry, whoever's on the other end of Gronk. It's not that. You should have rolled the dice with Hunter Henry. He's fine there. He's got Gronk anyways. Trade Hunter Henry to somebody who's desperate for tight end because he's had a couple of good weeks in a row. It's other than
a nice
that,
win by Dan. Paul's got potential to have good points. He's high up on the points for, but he's 1-3-1, and he's looking like it's. If he loses this week, it's going to be hard pressed for him to get into the playoffs.
Well, it's just the other thing. I'm looking at Aaron Jones, for example. Why isn't is he talking to the Ty Montgomery owner? Are we having that conversation? These people that are relying on, this guy's going to be out for the week, so I'm going to start him. Okay. Well, immediately get that conversation going. Like Paul, for example, has Terrence West on his bench. Okay. So who owns Alex Collins and who gives a shit, really?
Paul owns Alex Collins.
Okay, so he owns both. Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there he is. So, okay, well, that's good.
And who owns Buck Allen? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying, sorry. But moreover to Aaron Jones, I look like an idiot there. Moreover to Aaron Jones,
first time.
talk to the Ty Montgomery owner and try to make some moves here. Either trade Ty Montgomery and trade Aaron Jones. Let's do this.
You tried to trade me Aaron Jones.
No, you're the Ty Montgomery owner.
No, I'm not. That's why I didn't.
Oh, right, and that's why I laughed.
Paul's been trying to make trades with me for a very long time, and we're just one of those teams that won't mesh to make a trade. Both of us have nothing but running backs on our bench.
Yeah.
So for me to try to get a wide receiver from him doesn't make sense because now he has no wide receivers.
Right.
Same thing, vice versa. For him to get a wide receiver from me makes no sense because I don't have any wide receiver depth. I need to trade running backs for wide receivers, not the other way around. So that's part of trading. Find a team that you'll actually mesh with. And
okay, so now as Dan, who did the most tradings, and this harkens back to what we were talking about earlier. So now Dan's team looks like this: Aaron Rodgers, Mike Gillislee, Jonathan Stewart, Danny Amendola, Deshaun Jackson, Travis Kelce, and he'll put in, we'll say,
Funchess or Watkins or Blunt or whoever. Yeah.
For the flex.
My point is, Eli Manning and Leonard Fournette got 50 points.
Yeah.
How many points did Aaron Rodgers get?
This week, I think 30.
Okay, so Dan traded 50 points for 30 points.
Yeah.
That's my argument.
I know. But it's...
Sorry, that's not true.
But
because he would replace him with a running back, which was who? Jonathan Stewart or LeGarrette Blount. So, 5 points. So Dan traded 50 points for 35 points.
But your point also is a lot more pressing when it comes to quarterback because there's no other slots that those quarterbacks can go in. So it's Aaron Rodgers, and it makes more sense when it comes to Eli Manning and Leonard Fournette than it does Leonard Fournette and Des Bryant, because you've got to move around. Like maybe you've got another guy that you can get 10 points out of. It doesn't mean the other person gets 0. It means they get some version less than that stud would have got. So if Lev Bell is going to get 20, well, their replacement that he might have found on his bench gets 10. It doesn't work as easily as what you're kind of
Yeah, so if I was Dan and I was going to make that trade, I'd want Aaron Rodgers plus.
Oh, yeah, something. Just take something.
So I look at Perry's lineup. Would you want Aaron Rodgers and Latavius Murray?
Sure.
Okay. Right? Like Aaron Rodgers and Willie Snead?
Sure. There you go.
Okay.
He looks better.
Something.
He's got some depth.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably would have taken a running back strictly because
of course that's what I would want to.
Right?
But Perry's got Duke Johnson, who he won't trade.
Like if I trade
and Eddie Lacy.
Like if I offer Brad Nameet Tom Brady for DeAndre Hopkins, for example,
that's an awful trade for Brad Nameet.
They're not going to take it.
No.
But what I'm saying is that it's better for them to say, okay, give me Tom Brady and a wide receiver, just to give me a little bit of your wide receiver kind of thing.
We're talking way too much about their stupid team.
Brad Nameet?
Yeah.
You just hate Brad and Nameet.
Mostly Brad. It's a little bit of a meat. It flip-flops both week to
week.
Like,
I'm always the nice guy. As this person who hasn't gotten hot this week, and I don't intend to because we're almost done, but you've been quite hot since we sat down.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I've had positive feedback. That's what people want to hear. That's why people slow down to see a car crash, Don.
Because of their team?
They like to see the world burn, my friend.
So then we got 86 Ron Rago versus Corey Nightingale. The team Bounty Hunters. I guess that's obviously a New Orleans reference, but
yeah, about 5 years old. But
yeah, that's like if I made like a Deflategate reference.
Yeah,
like
I had my
deflate last these balls.
Last year, one of my team names was the Fall Guys with a big stupid picture of Chris Carter on my thing. Because he told all the rookies, you got to get a fall guy for when you get into trouble. It was funny. Yeah. But this year I changed it. I'm not relying on that.
Well, you still have Ron Rigo.
Well, I'm still 86th.
Yeah, so that's true. There's nothing wrong about that.
If the Saints were still paying players to kill people, then that would be more
maybe
relevant.
Nightingale knows more than we know.
Yeah, so Nightingale now no longer has Russell Wilson, Lamar Miller, and Tyreek Hill, who he all started. He does have Lev Bell, which is fantastic for him. Hopefully things pan out. Christian McCaffrey's been getting a ton of targets. He's got Julio Jones coming back. And Alvin Kamara looks like he's going to get more volume now with AP gone.
Nightingale, I want Julio. Let's talk.
There you go. Start talking Julio. It's pretty easy to see where all my points came from, and those are my studs. I've got a great quarterback, number 5 right now in fantasy. He might even be bumped up after that 37 performance. Melvin Gordon was fantastic, which is great. I'm happy about that. He's been consistent.
Dak has been lights out, eh?
Lights out. Consistent, never going to hurt you. Going to get you 25 points on average.
Yeah, 20 and above.
I think I drafted him in the 13th round or something.
Yeah.
As the best GM of the year, I'd vote for myself.
I know my quarterback's number 2, but I got him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, so there's the trade-off, right? Who else could you have gotten in that spot?
Let's not even start.
Joe Mixon's still getting worked into the lineup more and more, which is great to see him get 11 points, and I find my way throughout the rest of it.
Are you worried about your boy Mike Evans? Can I ask that? Because I know you're a big Mike Evans guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not. He's still getting the majority share of the targets. Mm-hmm. He's getting a lot of heat this year. I need Deshaun Jackson to pick it up because that'll take a little bit.
Deshaun had a bigger game this week than
so I need that to keep happening because the defense will start actually defending Deshaun, and then Mike Evans will be freed up. He missed a touchdown pass this week, which would have put him at 12 points. So I'm not.
Okay.
And same thing last week. He actually caught a ball. They ruled it a touchdown, called it back when the point of the ball was an inch from the goal line. So I've been watching the games and I'm seeing points that are easily gone missing. I'm not worried about Mike Evans.
Okay, now what was going through your fucking head when you decided to start Amir Abdullah over Kelvin Benjamin?
Carolina hasn't been great against the run. Amir Abdullah has been trending upwards. And Detroit, I thought Kelvin Benjamin would be locked in with Darius Slay, which is never a good thing.
So, Abdullah's best points for the...
Last week, the week before.
Yeah. Okay. So
At Minnesota, who's a fantastic defense.
So he had one big game.
Trending forward the entire time, though.
He had
Always
one
moving
double-digit point game, whereas Kelvin Benjamin's last 3 double-digit points.
Yeah.
Listen,
I played the matchup, Don.
you don't like Kelvin Benjamin for some reason, but you won't trade me Kelvin Benjamin, and I don't understand.
Because who else? What wide receiver are you going to give me back? I've got nothing. Look at my bench. I have no wide receivers.
Yeah, me neither. I went 0.
Yeah.
I have nothing.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But what I'm saying is I was banking on Kelvin Benjamin being stuck with Darius Slay, which is why I played the Lions defense.
Okay, now... What are you going to do with Jacques Rogers? Are you trading him?
I've dumped him already. I tried to trade him for... I tried to give him to a Meet and Brad. I think the last offer I gave him was for a kicker. Like, I just wanted to give them to him as a GM. They didn't want to make a move. I tried to trade for Doug Martin. They didn't send anything back. So I said, okay, well, I don't want to just let Jaquiz out there without you guys having first option at him, right? I can just drop him, get him on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
You might not pick him up.
Yeah.
We know how other people like to pick up other guys.
Yeah.
Or you might leave him there and... Martin's going to go down eventually, which he will, and now you got to fight for him.
Now here's my question: do you do Joe Mixon, Kelvin Benjamin for Doug Martin? If you still had Quiz,
I would need another shit wide receiver,
just
a
something,
shit,
whatever. So say Golden Tate on the way back.
Yeah, I take a dumpster wide receiver for sure. Yep.
So Brad and Mead are, staying. I was defending them earlier, but it's looking more and more like they're just overvaluing. Maybe
they are overvaluing a little bit or looking for too much.
Okay. Now, what are you going to do this week with? Let's talk more about your team for no reason.
Sure.
Jordan Reed. He's playing. He's starting him.
He's full practice. No questionable. No nothing. He actually, for the first time this year, doesn't have any red tag.
Yeah.
I got to start him. How can I not?
No, you can't not.
I earlier this week when he was still iffy, I picked up Kobe Fleener.
Yeah.
As soon as Reed was good to go, I dropped Fleener.
Yeah, well, Brad will pick him up because he's better than Gronk. Right, Brad? You still listening? Have you gotten far enough that you're still listening? Anyways.
That's where we're at.
Okay.
We've already gone through
We've already went through my dog shit. Like, I don't even know what to do at this point. No. I keep cycling Arizona wide receivers, Jerron Brown, J.J. Nelson,
I'm
John
trying
Brown.
to look at what I would trade you. And the only, LaShawn McCoy, DeMarco Murray. Okay, so do I want DeMarco Murray on a down year? Because then I'd have to take... The problem is trading DeMarco Murray is you have to trade Derrick Henry.
Oh, I'll gladly trade you DeMarco Murray without Derrick Henry.
Yeah, of course. Of course you will. But there's, I can't... It's hard. It's hard to trade for DeMarco Murray when you need Derrick Henry and you might not have the space.
All right.
So...
doesn't matter. Let's not talk about
it's
my
neither
team.
here nor there.
It is what it is. So let's just go really quick. Now, certain GMs, earmuffs, okay, because we're not allowed to give advice. Let's take a look at the waiver wire. Let's see what we've got out here. Top of the waiver wire on the flex positions, because everybody's pretty much got their quarterbacks locked up or some version of it. Is there any quarterbacks that interest you, Corey? Let's take a quick look at projections. We've got Mariota's out there.
He's Monday night, so you've already got your guy locked in for Monday night. I've got Jacoby Brissett. Mm-hmm. So it might make sense if Mariota plays that I swap them.
Yeah.
But Tennessee's defense is terrible and Brissett's been fine, so I'm okay streaming.
Okay. McCown,
no.
Keenum, Flacco, Cutler, Hogan.
I don't hate Hoyer. There's no
Where's
Josh Norman.
Washington?
There's no Josh Norman this week, so I think that might be a bit of a shootout.
But he's more of he's not stopping the quarterback. He's just stopping the number one wide receiver.
No. Someone might pick up Goff for a stash. I wouldn't play him this week, but moving forward, maybe.
Okay.
He does get to play Arizona a couple times. He gets to play San Fran, so he's got options.
But if Mariota plays, Mariota is the quarterback you want at Indy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's making a move on him this week just because it's Monday night. So there's no point.
Yeah. Okay, sure. And now we've got the flex positions here. Got John Brown at the top. When will people stop believing in John Brown?
I don't know. It's a sickle cell.
What? Okay.
He's got issues and he can't compete at the level that he can. And I'm
know,
sorry for him.
But you don't. It's like if he had it. Okay, whatever. Eric Decker.
It's like what? It's like what? What? What if he had?
The guy's born. The guy's born.
What if he had a cleft palate? Like what?
The guy's born with a disease.
Sickle cell. Yeah.
It's a
triumph that he's made it this far.
Good for him.
But that doesn't mean I give a shit. As the owner of my own fantasy team, I don't take deformities. I don't take issues. JPP,
Holy
hit the bricks.
Fuck.
I'm out here for points and points alone. Don,
okay.
I play for keeps. I'm proud of John Brown. He's overcome so much. He's an inspiration to the rest of the sickle cell community. But fuck if I'm picking him up.
Okay, as somebody who at one point during this podcast called himself the hero of the league, I don't know if that's an apt description. That's all I'm saying. Eric Decker, he's on waivers. You going to try to pick him up?
No. Kenny Stills.
Theo Riddick, Cooper Kupp, Marquise Lee. So who gets you going? See, Jerome Brown, I obviously dropped him.
Yeah.
Because that's another... See, the only reason these Arizona wide receivers stick out to me is because I am all about them. I've owned all of them.
There's no one. Mike might want Austin Hooper because he does like a guy who gets 2 targets and is shitty.
All right, so let's actually find...
He's a 2-target man.
Might be into. Ben Watson was doing something for a second.
No.
I don't want to touch Eric Ebron.
I think about Albert Wilson with Chris Conley now out with the torn Achilles. Albert Wilson from KC might be an option.
Okay,
we'll see. But I'm letting him sit there for another week.
Sure.
Josh Doxson. You could take a flyer.
Yeah, but people took a flyer. They drafted him, and now he's done nothing. Literally nothing. Rashard Higgins, he's been on my team. Travis Benjamin has been on my team.
Shane Vereen could have a good week.
They
have no pass catchers in New York.
I think he honestly might be the number 1 pickup next week is Shane Vereen.
And the number 1 drop the week after.
Sure, because the Giants are terrible. But I just think that it will be interesting to look at not Vereen's completions, like
targets.
His targets.
Just straight targets.
Because
he could have a
they're
Christian
against
McCaffrey,
Denver,
10,
it's impossible, but it's just like what's actually happening.
He will.
And he's going to need them.
Yeah. If you need a streamer, there you go. There's free advice from the fantasy gurus.
And if you want real fucking advice,
Shane Vereen, a former 1st-round pick, Shane Vereen.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend. If you want real fantasy advice, I'm looking at this list here. Jalen Richard, the Marshawn Lynch owner, should sure pick him up.
I think he's maxed out on Raiders. Like you're only allowed to have someone.
Chris Ivory, the Fournette owner, should for sure pick him up. It goes on and on. Just make sure, you heard it here first, kids. Cooper Kupp. That's the only guy who interests me, and there's no reason he should. No. I'm just saying. Like, I already picked up my guy. I got Mike Williams from the Chargers.
Which is a stash, and see what happens. It's a good move. If you have the room to do it, it's a great move.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I think that's... Do you have anything else? What are we... Well... We're going international next week, so we should put that out there to everybody and all of our listeners that we may not be able to put up a podcast. We're doing our best to try to figure out something. It won't be on the right day because we're in a different time zone on a different day. I don't even know where we're...
I say we get blasted Wednesday night. We'll be in Rome, right?
Yeah. Well, that'll be Wednesday morning here. I don't know.
No, it doesn't matter. Us. Who gives a shit about their time? It's our time.
Okay.
So we get blasted Wednesday night. We figure out how to sit on our terrace at our apartment in Roma, and we just sit and we drink Negronis and red wine
and Negronis and Peronis
and we just talk shit, and then we just see if it can launch. And if it launches, it launches. We're taking the podcast internationally, and if it turns out that we can't. Here's a bat signal. If you're interested in trying to help us out next week and maybe doing your own version of this,
let us know.
We'll
set you up with the mic and the record. It's easy.
There's been so much talk about people wanting to come on the cast. Again, here, we've got a third person in the room, but that's just our representative from Northwest Vodka. That's just the man paying the bills, keeping the lights on. That has nothing to do with our fantasy football league, but we're happy for our sponsor. Again, if you're at your local liquor store in the Tri-City area or the whole lower mainland area, please don't hesitate to go out and try the smoothest vodka on the shelf that's made locally by some local guys. Support your local business. That's Northwest Vodka. Anything else?
Would you describe that smooth vodka as like one drinking by Kenny G?
I think that if Kenny G
drank a vodka,
I think that he would...
Is it as smooth as his routes?
I don't know that there's anything.
Is it as smooth as his activity in the medical tent? Because he's been gone for a couple weeks.
I know.
It's smooth.
It's so smooth. Hold on. I've got it with ice right now. I'm going to take a nice little step. I mean, that's smooth. That's just smooth.
That's Kenny G Smooth. Kenny G now proudly owned by Paul Lalonde.
Good luck.
Proudly dropped next week, and we'll see where he's at moving forward. But that's kind of this week in your Kenny G segment.
Yeah.
And there we have it. So we'll be hopefully live from Rome in the Gabbagool studios next week. We're searching for it. We're going to find it, and we're going to let you know. If not, tune in 2 weeks from now. We apologize that it didn't happen, but we're efforting.
Ciao.
Ciao bella.